you so much for stopping by. I am Tia the Southern Rose, and today I wanted to discuss something. It's kind of a retraction of something that I said in a previous video. I believe I had said that I became introduced to the concepts of law of attraction and conscious creation and all of those things that are about being more focused. I mentioned that I got my introduction to it about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than, actually, definitely a little more than 10 years, when I got a copy of this book, which is Write It Down, Make It Happen. Sorry for the glare. Hope you can see it. And yeah, by Dr. Henriette Ann Clouser. But on second thought, and after going through some of my notebooks and other books that I had packed up, I realized that was completely untrue. And there is a whole story that I need to tell you about how I became introduced to this. So if you're interested in hearing about that, stay tuned. So the story actually starts in 2007, but in order to give you a little background, I'll start in 2005. So in fall 2005, I was hired as a contact representative with Internal Revenue Service. So when you would call in, or if you've ever called in and talked to someone live to answer your tax questions, I was that person. I did that from fall 2005 to summer 2006, and then I was furloughed. That was an option for seasonal workers like I was at the time. You could be furloughed and then come back at the beginning of the tax season, or you could apply to become permanent. I wasn't ready to become permanent yet, so I went out on furlough, and I was gone from August 2006 to December 2006. And toward the end of December 2006, I was notified that they wanted me to come back in January. So I returned in January. When I returned, I got refresher training, and then I was put into a new group. I wasn't in the same group I had been in before. And the new group that I had it was a mix of seasonal and full-time regular employees. And one of the employees I met was a man named Arthur Childs. Now, Mr. Childs was an older man. He was just a little shorter than me, charming, funny, always dressed well and smelled nice, and well-groomed and well-spoken and full. When I say brimming with wisdom, I mean he just had so many great insights. He was definitely a person that either you loved him or you hate him, because he had the kind of directness that some people don't enjoy. That I did. And he and I got along swimmingly. We had great chats. He gave me wonderful insights. And I've always been a person that loves to sit at the knee of an older person and listen. That's been me my whole life. And so this was right up my alley. On a break, I could go over to his desk, grab a piece of candy, because he did have the best candy dish on the floor. And we would sit and chat about different things, all kinds of things, not really work, all sorts of things, life in general, aging, travel, different cultures, you name it. We discussed it. So he decided to retire in 2007, and it was, I want to say maybe spring or summer 2007, because it wasn't very long after that I got a promotion and ended up going to Washington, D.C. to work in a different position. But he retired. And before he retired, he said he wanted to give me something. And one of the things that he gave me was his candy dish. So I had this, he called it his lucky candy dish. I had his lucky candy dish, and he gave me this. And I don't know if you can see the words. Hopefully it says Reaffirmations, Book 2. I also have Book 1. It's packed up somewhere. I got to find it. But this book and Book 1 were full of quotes and thoughts from Mr. Childs that he had picked up over time. And when you go to the first page of Book 2, you can see at the top, it says Dr. Wayne Dyer, 598. So May of 1998, Mr. Childs wrote these thoughts that he gathered while listening to Wayne Dyer. And the first thing that he wrote in this book, there were so many good quotes in the other book. I wish I still, I do still have it. I wish I could find it, but it's packed up somewhere. Once I unpack it, I will read some excerpts from that for you all for sure. But the first thing that it says in here is, All of us are on our own paths, doing exactly what we know how to do at the moment, given the conditions of our lives. And then the next one is the measure of your life will not be in what you accumulate, but in what you give away. The secret of abundance is to stop focusing on what you do not have and shift your consciousness to an application for all that you are and all that you do have. These are principles of conscious creation / law of attraction / manifesting. All of those terms come back to principles as stated by Wayne Dyer, who has followed the footsteps of other people. And this book was literally handed to me. I had never heard of Wayne Dyer before. I had no clue what conscious creation or law of attraction or manifesting were. No idea what any of that was. But I got a book handed to me from someone I respected, who said he thought that this would help me on my path. He was right. It did help me on my path. I read and reread books. He had lovely handwriting, so it was very easy to read. He mixed up a variety of things. It's not just Wayne Dyer quotes. It's his own thoughts, it's scriptures, it's all sorts of things he put in this book and in book one and handed them to me for my reading. And so that was my first introduction to these concepts. Now, a couple of years later, not very long, maybe 2 years later, I would say definitely no more than 3 years later, I got this book, which is Write It Down, Make It Happen by Dr. Henriette Ann Clouser. I come back to this book over and over and over again, reading and rereading. It is one of my favorite texts. And those two things, this notebook and this book by Henriette Ann Clouser, Dr. Henriette Ann Clouser, were the two tools that I use to get onto a conscious creation path. And I realized when I did the things that were in these books, or when I kept in mind the quotes and the wisdom, my life shifted in so many amazing ways, and my path was so much smoother. I had wonderful opportunities just given to me. I had so much peace of mind. I had so much more confidence and calm in general. I grew so much because of the words that were poured into me through this notebook, this book, as well as Mr. Child's own words that he poured into me. So that is actually how I came in contact with these concepts. I know I usually go right to Write It Down, Make It Happen. That's my first book. But I don't want to omit the beginning, the true beginning. Before I knew anything about Dr. Clouser, I became introduced to Dr. Dyer through Mr. Childs. So that is my story, how I came into this path. If you all are interested in some of the cool things that I've created in my life using the power of focus, please let me know. I would be happy to share them with you. And if you have any other questions or video recommendations, please leave me a comment. I read them all and respond to them all, and I would love to hear what you have to say. So I hope you have a great day or evening wherever you are, and take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.